This
Okay,
conference
okay.
will now be recorded.
Yeah. Before you share the screen, let me give you the permissions. Okay. Yes, you have it now, Monica. Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay.
Yes. So you understood all the previous topics, right, Monica? Like creating the organization and why we are using the organization hierarchy and the different
Uh,
process models as well.
yes.
Okay. So let's continue from where we have left. Yes, we were looking at some of the project settings. So in that we were looking at area path and iteration path, and we were also creating a team along with the area path to see how we can place the teams based on the structure. Usually the companies would follow the structure if like it depends on the clients, so they would be following the program and the team structure, right? So we just saw an example. So is that clear, or should we go ahead and create one again? Because I know for the first stake it won't be that clear. So I want like that's why I want to ask you guys. And do you guys understand why area path and iteration path will come into picture? Okay, fine. Let's do one thing in order to make you understand these two concepts, right? Like your area path and iteration path. First, let us go ahead and see the basic inside Azure DevOps, that is your ports. Okay. Once we understand the baseline or the work item format, you will know where our area path or iteration path will be used. Then we will understand how it can be used and why it is used. Okay. So let's go back to Azure boards. So in the icons you see to your left hand side, right? So project settings we'll cover later. Yes. Can you just come down, click on boards? That is the overview. Yeah. Yes. So here, as we discussed that we are going to see the organizational hierarchy, and we will also understand the different terminologies that is used in agile methodology, and also we will be using that in Azure DevOps, right? So the boards is the option which has different menu items like your work items, boards, backlogs, sprints, and queries. Okay, so this module of Azure DevOps is usually used for requirements gathering. Okay, say for example, you get to develop a software from the client. So where will you record all those requirements, and how will you plan what is the capacity that you want to have within your team to complete that particular requirement, right? And how do you plan your sprint? So usually sprint, as we discussed, it will span for 10 days. So you need to know within that 10 days having what kind of capacity I will be able to deliver this much of requirements. So all these planning we will be doing using Azure boards. Okay, so let's go ahead and see the first option, which is called as work items. Okay, so right now you see that we don't have any work items. And also in the recently updated, like you are able to see a drop down called as recently updated, right? So there you are able to see the different views that are by default. Okay, so could you please click on recently updated? Yes, so you can see that these are the views that are given by default. Like you can see all the work items assigned to you and the following items, mentioned items, my activity, recently updated, recently completed, and recently created. Okay. Later we will come, once we understand the different work items, we will come back and see this view, because by then we will have a lot of work items to look at it with the different views perspective. Okay. So first let's go ahead and create a epic work item, because that is the first in the hierarchy, right? So in the new work item, click on plus new work item. Yes. So right now you're able to see Epic issues and tasks. You're not able to see the user story because your project is following basic process, which is by default, right? But we don't want to I don't want to use this basic template because we want to see how the Azure DevOps work in agile process as well. So can we go back and quickly create a new project using agile process? Yeah, go to Azure DevOps. Yes. Yeah, click on new project to your right hand side above, that blue button. Yes. Plus new project, the blue button.
Just a
Yeah, there.
moment. I think this window is overlapped on that, so I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
trying to, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and give it as agile project, and let if description needed, we can give. Let it be private, and in advanced, please select basic. Sorry, agile. Yeah. Go ahead and create it. Okay. So now a new project is created, which follows the agile template. Yes. So now I want you to go back to boards and click on new work item.
Okay.
So here you will be seeing the basic, the different work items that is followed in agile method. Okay. The first, as we discussed, the organization hierarchy starts from epic, followed by feature. Then we have user story. Then we have task and bug at the same level. And in case if you have any test cases, because we will also deal with the testing team, so test cases would come in their picture. Okay. So let's go ahead and create first epic. Click on epic. So here, let's give a meaningful epic, because epic is the huge requirement that we are getting from the client, right? Say for example, development of a site similar to Flipkart. Yeah, you can go ahead and enter the title, development of a website like Flipkart. So this is like a huge requirement that is coming from the client, right? So that will be usually named as epic. Yeah, that is also fine. Development of website. Yes. Right now, can you see the state? Go ahead and click on state, which is giving you now, right? Yeah, go ahead
Yeah.
and save it.
Should I save it?
Yeah, just save it. Yes.
Okay.
So now you have your epic created, but you will have to observe all these fields as well. Like as we discussed in the previous session where we had the organization settings, there we also looked at the different process, right? So there the basic template what we had for epic is what is here, right? In the epic, if you go to the process model and click on the click on the work item as epic, you will see this skeleton there, right? So it had description, discussion, and in the planning group it had priority, risk, effort, business value, time criteria, start date, target date. So this is the basic fields that Azure DevOps will provide. In case if any of the client is coming and asking you that even I need the acceptance criteria for epic, I need a new field called as acceptance criteria for a epic work item, we can also customize that. Okay, we will be having a separate session on the customizations based on the process template itself. So for now, you just have to know that this is the default form which is created for epic, and this can also be customizable based on the client requirement. Okay, the main fields that you will observe here are your assigned to, right? So below the title will define the requirement. So below the title you see unassigned, right? So that is the place where you assign this particular epic for the user. Okay, so usually epics will be assigned for a delivery manager or a product owner. Okay, and then you have the state. Can you please click on state? Let us see the different states that we have for epics. Yes, so here you have new, because that is where you create a new epic, and then you have active, resolved, closed, and removed. So based on the different stages that this epic is working on, right? So now we have an epic for this epic to be fulfilled, we will be creating multiple features, and for that multiple features, we will be creating multiple user stories and so on, right? So right now, our epic is in new. Can you make it to active so that it means that we are working on that epic, okay? And then, yes, a reason, you don't have to worry because reason is something internal. It picks up the reason based on the state that you're giving, okay? And then next one, you see that we have area and iteration, right? So here is where the concept of area path and iteration path will come into picture, okay? So right now we have created a fresh project. We don't have any other themes inside that except a default theme which gets created when a project is created, right? Can you click on the area path? So where you see area is the area path, okay? So area path will define the address where you are going to store the work items for. That means now this epic is belonging to agile team, okay? So here right now we see only agile. Yes. Can you go ahead and click on iteration? Yes. So right now we are seeing iteration with the three default values, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3. But for these iterations, we don't have the dates set yet, right? So can you go ahead and select iteration 1 here? Yes, go ahead and click on save. Okay. So that means right now what we are doing is that iteration may be defined based on what is the time that will be consumed to execute the epic. Say for example, first iteration will have around 6 months to complete this particular development. So that will be stored in iteration 1 so that anyone who looks at this requirement, they will know when was the requirement created, when was the requirement, for which team this requirement belongs to, and what is the time span of this requirement. Clear? Then let's go ahead and see the other fields. The general fields that come along with these four major fields are, these are the mandatory fields. That's where you have to select a value for it to be created, including title as well. Okay. Description is there, like to tell more about your product or the requirement that you are going to do. Okay. So description, can we go ahead and put the description as development of website only? Development of website in brief. Okay, usually this description will be filled in with all the different aspects the client wants. Okay, yes. And the priority, can you go ahead and click on the priority which is under planning? Yes, so you can select the priority based on the execution priority. Okay, yeah, for now let it be 2, and then can you come down? Yeah, we have risk and effort. So based on the risk, whether it is a high one, medium one, or low one, you can select the risk priority, like risk as well. Yeah, based on the levels. Yes, then we have effort. Usually effort, what happens is, like as this is an epic, effort will be usually huge, right? Because it needs several features to be implemented. It needs several user stories to be implemented. So they can go ahead and put the effort either in terms of the complexity that is required to execute or do this product, or they can also put the effort in terms of hours, right? So usually when you plan for a team or when you plan for a certain task, how do you measure the time which is required to execute that task, right? So ideally it should be based on the hours. Maybe this task will take 4 hours, 5 hours. So based on that, you can define the effort, or based on the complexity. When you're not sure how many hours, because not every work whatever you're doing will be measurable, right? So if that is not a work which you have done earlier, if you want to measure that work, you can measure it based on the complexity as well. That's why your effort will be required at epic level. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and see the other one. Business value is a default field wherein you can for which business you're going to deal this epic for. Okay. And then time criticality is also out of the box. You can define like which phase you want to deliver this product. Then what is the start date? Yeah, the next field is the start date. Like what is the start date for this epic and what is the end date? Like even if you don't give start date, You can take the date when you create the epic as well, but it is a good practice to have the start date in place. Okay, so you can select the start date, you can select the target date as well. Okay, yeah, go ahead and select some of any date. Let's select today's date only. Yes, and the target date you can select after 3 months, September 1st or something. Yes, so these things you don't have to really worry about, because you need to know how these things work. These things can be taken care by your seniors as well, or by your project management team as well. Okay, yeah, under classification we see the value area as a field wherein it is already given by default as business, like what is the classification that you are doing based on the product that you are going to develop, whether it belongs to business product or it belongs to architectural product. Okay, and then we have deployment. For now we are not going to look at the deployment, and under the deployment you don't have to do really anything. It depends on how you're using the pipelines for this particular epic. Okay, and then under the development you see there is a section, there is a point where you have to click on add link. So go ahead and click on add link. Yeah, development usually means that to implement this particular product, what is the branch that you are going to use. So we will be dealing with branches and different pull request, push request, how to create different branches, and why your Git will be used. So this is a concept where the Git will come into picture. Okay, so for now let's not take this up, because we need to understand Azure Repos first, and then we will see how to link that particular item here. For now, under development you have an option to ideally link the branch that your team is working, because to develop this product, a team will be set as a developers, right? So developers will be working on their branches, so you need to properly mention which branch is being worked for this particular epic. That is what it means. Okay, that's why the link type is branch, and the repository is the by default repository that is getting created when we create a project. And the branch name, like when you give select a branch, yeah, click there. We don't have any branches because we have not yet created any branches. Repository is created, but we have not yet initialized the repository, not created any branch, right? Yeah, good. Go ahead and click on cancel. Yes. So the next one would be the related work, right? So in order to understand the hierarchy as we discussed, like the hierarchy flows from epic to feature, feature to user story to task, right? So in order to do that, somewhere you need to have the linkage between them, right? So if I want to know the relationship, like what is the relationship between epic and feature, I need to know that epic should be a parent of a feature. That's how the hierarchy flows. And feature should be a parent of user story. User story will be a parent for tasks. Okay, task or number of tasks. Okay, and the relationship between the user story and the bug, because task you have mentioned as the child of a user story already. So you cannot link the other work item again as the child, because keep in mind the scenario where you have a single one to many is possible, but many to many is not possible, because you can have one parent with many children, but you cannot have children's with many parents, right? So parent should be one, parent cannot be many. That means you cannot link two different tasks with two different parents, right? Sorry, two different child with a single parent you can link, but you cannot have two different parent for a single task. Got it, right? So we will be seeing that going onwards when we actually create that scenario. Okay, so right now we are at the epic. Go ahead and save it. Then we are going to create the link wherein we are going to create a feature out of this link. Okay, so in the add link under related work, go ahead and click on add link. Yes, so you can go ahead and create a new item also, or if you want to link an existing item as well, you can do. But for now, we don't have the existing item. Let's go ahead and create a new item. Yes. Yes, by default, the link type is taken as child. And you will also have to make sure that the link type is child whenever you are going to make this kind of relationships. Okay, because right now we are going to link link the epic to a feature as a parent, right? Yeah, let the link type be child. Yes, work item type should be feature, right? Yes, select feature, give the title. You can give, okay, so requirement is development of website, so you can give the feature as development of customer form, something, development of customer module, because usually modules will fall under your feature segregation. Yes, click on OK. Now you see that your feature has been opened, right? So you can create it like this also whenever you want to create a relationship along using going to the related work and creating, or you can also follow the procedure what we had done, going to the work items, creating, clicking on new work item to create as well. Okay, yes. So here also you see the different fields which are similar to Epic, right? So this also has the exactly same fields as your Epic has. Okay, for now, yeah, and also you need to observe under the related work that is giving you the Epic is a parent of this particular item, right? That is what we wanted. So go ahead and save and close. Okay, so now you see that for this epic, we have one child, which is a feature with a description called, with the title, which is called as development of customer module, right? So now this hierarchy is clear, which is stating from epic to feature. Okay, so now can we go ahead and create a user story for this epic? Go ahead and click on that epic, sorry, feature. Yes, so that the feature opens. See here again, we will have to create a link to the user story, right? Yeah, go ahead and add link. New item, yes. Not child, because as I told you that it should have only one parent referenced, right? Give us parent. Type
It
in
is
parent.
not there.
Okay, okay, okay. Give child.
But
Yes. Wait. The work item type you have selected of the same type with work item 2. Please change the link type. It's not same hierarchy level to avoid a. Okay, no. For feature, okay. Just because we are inside the feature, it is giving us like that. Click on cancel. Cancel this feature as well. Let's go to work items. Back to work items. Yeah, now you see the feature. Click on that feature. Okay. Now go ahead and click on add link. Yes, select the work item type as user story. No, that was, we did not give the user story. The work item type was feature only. Okay, that's the reason. Yes, now give the title. Give customer form creation. Yeah, click on OK. Yes. So here user story is a bit different compared to the featured form, like featured look and feel, right? So in user story, you can see the description. Along with description, you also see the acceptance criteria. So I'll tell you what does this acceptance criteria mean. Okay, so whenever you define the requirement, for now, user story is my requirement, right? So user stories will be assigned to the developers or testers based on the nature of work they are doing. So now, as a developer, when they assign me to develop customer form creation, what usually happens is once I develop the customer form creation, there will be a checklist to validate whatever was expected out of this requirement. That means in this form, I need to have 5 buttons, I need to have 5 drop downs, and once I click the drop down, this event should happen, right? So that is what is the requirement that they give you, and they put the to-do list that has to be agreed upon to close this requirement. That is usually called as your acceptance criteria. That means if I have these 4 items, this user story is complete. So what is the criteria to accept your requirement? That is usually defined in acceptance criteria. Got it?
Can you please explain once again?
Yeah. So what usually happens is right now, say for example, I'm the manager, I'm giving you a requirement, okay? Requirement to develop or to do certain task. Say for example, I'll tell you, go ahead and develop one user story page or user form page, right? So once you develop all these things as a product owner, if I have to tell whatever you have done is right or wrong, or whatever you have implemented is as expected under the acceptance criteria, you need to check. Once you develop, you will see the list of acceptance criteria. So Monica, can you go to the acceptance criteria? Yes, put in the first point as need to have 5 buttons. That's all. Okay, but it will be in more detail. Like they'll tell you need to have 5 buttons, 1 button for this, 1 button for this, and when you click on this button, it should behave like this. So that is what is the requirement in detail. They will tell you in the acceptance criteria. So if your functionality developed by you satisfies these conditions, only then the product owner, when you have a demo, like at the end of the sprint, you need to show the client what you have developed, and that development should meet the acceptance criteria.
Okay, same like business requirement should satisfy.
Yeah, whatever demo you give there, it should meet the acceptance criteria, and the acceptance criteria will actually tell you the in detail functionality and the conditions to accept your user story. That means yes, you have done as what was expected, this is closed for this sprint. In order to tell that, these conditions will be used.
Yeah, but acceptance criteria, I mean, sorry to interrupt.
No
So
problem.
we have two type of requirements, right? So one is business requirement and one is system requirement. So which requirements we have to pull here? I mean, we have to
Give
include
me a
here.
second. Yeah, sorry guys, I had a call.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, please. See, requirements, whether it is a business requirement or system requirement, they have to mention you. They have to clearly tell you in the description. Okay, so in order to track the description, in order to track the requirement only, we are going to use this user story work item. Okay, so how do you usually track is, you should tell what you need as a requirement in the title. That should be the overview title, like a summary title. Okay, and then what is your inner description of your requirement? That will be in your description. And what you implement, I will accept the user story, because if I am a business analyst, usually these responsibilities will be of a business analyst only. So they will have to clearly tell us what they need from the client. Okay, if I am a developer, I would go ahead and look at this user story, which is usually the requirement for me. I would see what is required in the description, what is required in the acceptance criteria. Based on that, I would go ahead and develop my form.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Right. So now you have the acceptance criteria. Say for example, you start working on your user story and you would need some input from other team member, or it might be from your lead, or it might be from your tester, anything, right? So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do it using discussion. Okay, so here under discussion, can you type in at? Yes, so you can see all the team members who belong to this particular organization. But right now I see that there are no identities. Not many users are added to this organization. That's where you're not able to find. But if you type in net, you will be able to see the list of users who are part of your organization. You can refer them and tell them, like say for example, at Jayshri, I need to update this and I'm waiting for an update from you based on this. If you put at, immediately an email will be triggered for that person so that he will update you based on what is the request that you have mentioned. Okay. And also if you type in hash, can you type in hash? Yes. So hash will tell you the different work items that is present in the system. So you can mention hash for this hash, I need this input from this person. Okay. So it will be much more convenient to specify what you need from the list of system work items that you have and to pointing to whom you want to address for. Okay, so that is where your discussion will be needed. Can you just type in testing in the discussion only? Yeah, press Control S. Yeah, Control S, or you can even go to the save and close. There is a drop down with save and close, right? Drop down. Can you click on that small drop? Yes, click on save. If you want to stay back in the same page, you can go ahead and click on save as well. Yes. So once you give the comment, you can see that the comment has been increased above. Above area path, you see now there is one comment, right? Now above area path. Agile project? Yes, yes. So above, yes, that's exactly. So if you see, based on the discussions that you're going to make, your comment will increase. Okay. And there is also one important functionality which will be more useful when you're actually working on the production organization. That is your tag feature. Okay. So you see add tag button there. Go ahead and click on add tag. Yes. So you want to like add a tag, whether this particular user story belongs to development environment or QA or production, or whether it belongs to different projects or different clients, because in a single project you might be handling different clients, right? So you can go ahead and name that as well. So yeah, this one, can you name it as Nestle or something? Yeah, anything. Test is also fine. So that a tag will be applied to your user story, which will be useful whenever you want to group the number of items that is belonging to a single tag. Okay, this is usually used for grouping. Okay, and then planning, you have the story points, priority and risk. Priority and risk we have already seen. Let's discuss about story points. So as in the previous chapters also, we discussed what do you understand by story points, right? So story points means the complexity that you have to execute this particular user story, right? So this is just an estimation only. So what happens is, whenever you start your sprint, or when you when you plan for the implementation of a chunk of, like say for example, you're going to implement 2 features for a sprint, that is a span of 10 days, you will start estimating it. So when it comes to this user story, you say that this user story might be complex this much, but to measure, what is that you're referring for, right? So if you want to compare or if you want to measure, you need to measure it using something. So that something will be your Fibonacci series. Okay, so please note it, because whenever you do the sprint planning, you will be following the poker planning game. Okay, and for that we also have an extension that we will be going forward and seeing when we are seeing the extensions part as well. Okay, if you install the estimation extension, that will also help us to do the poker planning, wherein it helps us to identify the complexity of a user story. So let me tell you why complexity will come in place. Okay, so complexity means whenever you and doing your uh, planning, right, or user story takes this much of hours, or this user story is this much complex, so you will ask the same complexity or what your team will think based on the execution of this user story. Okay, maybe for you it might be an easier one because it also depends on the knowledge of the senior levels as well, right? For a fresher it might be more complex. For the medium level resource it will be little less as compared to the fresher, like that, right? So what you do, you discuss within the team that this user story based on the assigned to what will be the complexity. Okay, the Fibonacci series goes like this. Like as we all know, the Fibonacci series are 1, 3, 5, that, right? So 1 plus 3 is 5, and again 3 plus 5 is like 5 plus, yeah. There is a prime number series which is usually followed in Fibonacci series. So if the user story is less complex, you will be assigning 1, 3, like that. Okay, if the user story is usually complex, it needs lot of logics or integrations and all that, then you will go with increasing the series like 5, 7, 13. Okay, so for now what we will do for custom form creation, let's take it as a complex one, so that we will be measuring that particular user story with 13 user story points. Okay, the Fibonacci series until 13 is the highest one. So let's give the highest one for this user story. Okay, so go ahead and type in the user story points as 13. Okay, so this is how usually this will be carried out using the project like BAs, donors, and all those people. But when it comes to understanding why we are using user story and user story and what is the responsibility of story points inside the user story, this is why it is used to define how much complex or how much of time it would take for that user story to execute. Got it? The classification is what we have seen in Epic as well, Epic feature as well. Deployment, as we discussed, let's not see the deployment because we will be seeing at Azure pipelines. Okay, and then we will be looking at development also later. Related work, I think now it is clear. We have different link types. So the linkage for the hierarchy is what is defined, but you can also use other link types as well. So this will be a homework for you guys today to explore the different link types of Azure DevOps and give me two you can use that link type. Okay, so one what we have seen is that we can use user story to bug with the related scenario, right? But apart from related link type also, we have other types as well. Okay, so this is about the clear picture of the different fields that we look in terms of user story. Okay, yeah, save and close. Let's create the next hierarchy one, which is usually called as task. Okay, yes, go ahead to the user story, and as we know that we have to create the task as a child to the user story, right? Yes, click on user story, add link. Yes, select the task. Yes, yeah, user form handling events. Because in order to implement this particular user story, the task will be the granular level. That means the task that you're doing on day-to-day activities will be recorded as the task. Yeah, you can go ahead and click on OK. So a user story can have multiple tasks, which might span up to 10 tasks or 20 tasks based on the complexity of that user story. Okay, yes. So here also you will see the different fields like your state, area path and iteration path, description, discussion, as we have discussed. One thing to note is the effort. Okay, because in the user story, we are not going to estimate the user story based on hours. We are going to estimate the user story based on story points, right? So in task, you're going to put the actual hours that is consumed to execute each of the task that will in turn will be used to execute the user story. Got it, right? So here in the effort, you have original estimate, remaining, and completed, right? So in the original estimate, it is a best practice to segregate your tasks with 4 hours for each task. That will be the best practice, because usually for a resource, we will have 8 hours in a day, 8 hours, 2 tasks per individual. That means one task will have 4 hours. Okay, so you can define original estimate as 4, remaining 0, 2, sorry. Yes, Joseph.
Yeah, small clarification, that is there any relation between what is the relation between the story points and this effect of hours? Uh, so actually here in effect hours we can give what you call we can include any hours or something like 4 and 5 or 6 or 8 or something like that, or else we need to based on the story points only we need to include here.
Actually, it is based on the story points. But what happens is, story points is just the estimation. That means you're just estimating the effort based on your experience. Like if you are working on the same work again and again, you're estimating that this one might be complex, right? But what happens is, in the real time scenario, when you implement that particular user story, it might be within the within the estimation. Like it might take the effort of 7 story points, or it might exceed the effort of 13 story points that you have defined for the user story. But the general relationship between the story points and the task is that usually one story points is estimated to be 1 day. That means 8 hours. So one
8,
story
okay,
point is equal to 8 hours.
okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, that's what is the relationship, but it doesn't have to be like that followed, because it is just the estimation that we are giving. It can be within that, or it can go beyond that as well. Because
Okay.
if a fresher is involved in this development, she might take 30 days. But if you're putting an experienced one, he might take 1 week. So that's how the nature of complexity will work.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Thank you. Yeah, got it.
Okay. So now you can just keep the completed as 2, Monica. Yes. And the other things are as usual. Let's go ahead and in the implementation, you have to select like in which phase you're going to use this particular task. Okay, but right now, integrated in build, can you click on that drop down? Yes. Right now, we don't have any integration in build. Okay, you can select none, or you can even leave it blank. Okay. Yes, go ahead and click on save and close. So this is how you have the hierarchy now from epic till task. Okay, let's go ahead and create the bug as well. Okay, go back to work items. Yeah, user story only, not task, because it should be tagged to user story. Yes, user story, add link, new item. Here the link type should be related, because this is we are going to create for bug. Yes, work item type should be bug. Give bug 1 or something. Usually bugs will be raised by the testers. Okay, yeah, click on OK. Yes. So this is how your bug form looks, with the repro steps, system info, and the section which is under plan. Okay, so this repro steps is the automated field which will be producing when you're running your test cases using Azure Test Plans. Okay, so when we are covering the Azure Test Plans, I'll show you once you do your scenario testing, how does that result would come and append to the bug that you are mentioning during the testing. Okay, for now, repro steps means the analysis that has happened for the test case where you found the bug. Okay. Yeah, system info, they will give the system info, that usually, because these are the fields that are with respect to testers. So the system info will be with what system they tested, with what browser they tested, and how was it. That usually comes under system info. Discussion we have already seen. So in the planning, you will see the different other status for bug, because can you, okay, it is can you save it? It is locked because you have not saved it. Yes. Can you make it active, the state? Yes. Okay. Resolved reason will usually be appearing based on one of the state. I think it's not active means it should be under closed or something. Okay. So in the resolved reason, what usually happens is once the bug is raised by the tester, developer has to fix it and then tell to the tester that it is ready to be tested again after the fix, right? So all those states will be available in resolved reason. Okay. And the estimate that is required for bug as well, because bug is also something which needs effort, right? So in order to track that effort, story points is also present at bug level as well. Okay. And the priority, severity with which you categorize your bug is given, and to resolve that particular bug, what is the estimated hours, completed hours, and remaining hours as well. Okay. So this is about planning and effort section. Then we have deployment development, which we'll be seeing later. Related work, because we have already added this bug as a related to the user story. So we don't have much things, but under system info, this is an auto generated field wherein you can tell where was this bug found. Okay, whether it was in whether it was found in the build or it was found in the integration. Okay, yeah, you can type in the drop down button as well. Yes, right now it is not giving you anything because we don't have any Azure test plans defined, right? Okay, so now you understood what all the different fields that your bug will have. Let's see to the history and the attachments as well. History, link, and attachments. Right now you see that there is a small thing which is called as details highlighted in blue, right, before the development. Yes, can you click on the next icon which is showing you the history icon? Yes. So this will tell you the history on who created this bug, what is the modifications that is happening, and what is the state change that is happening with the particular bug. Okay, not only with the bug, you can see this information with all the work items as well. Okay, and can you click on the next tab? Yes, so this tab which will show you the links. Okay, because usually if you have more links which is not which is not fitting inside the user story form, that is in the first tab, details, you can see the list of all the links that is present in here. Okay, separate link tab, and at the last you have attachments wherein you can go ahead and attach the particular document based on what kind of work you are doing, like based on the requirement defined. Okay, so let me tell you one more thing. Can you go ahead and click on follow, that is about the details? Yes. So this follow will be used whenever you want to have all of them to be viewable under the views, because at the starting of the class I told you that we have the separate list of views where you have recently updated or recently deleted, recently created. There we also had a follow, right? So whenever you follow the work items here, these work items would come and fit there, and you can see a summarized view of all the items that you're following. Usually this followed will be used when you want to track the status of the critical one. Instead of going to the user stories and seeing, you can have a view there so that it will give you all the list. Okay, so can we close this? Yes. And then can we go to the work items, back to work items? Right now we are seeing all these things because we have the recently updated. So can we go to the can we change the view to following? The drop down above beside plus new work item. Yes, following, second one. So here, as you have followed the bug, you're getting the bug under your following view. Okay, so this is just to have a separate view of what all is preferred by you. Okay, so this is how you create the different work items. Let's go to the backlogs. I want to show you one view here. To your left hand side, after work items, you see boards and backlogs. Yes, below that, backlogs. So here, right now we are at the user story level. That's where we are able to see only the user story. So can you change the stories to Epic? To your right hand side above, got it is there, no? That message is popping up. Yes. So there, click on the drop down. Yes. Okay. So you see only features because by default, only features is enabled. To enable the Epic as well, can you go to the gear icon? Yeah, next to that. Yes. Yeah. Checkbox. Check the epics as well. Save and close. Select the epic from there. So now we are able to see one epic. Click on plus. There is a plus box right under backlog. Before that, yes. One more. One more. Yes. So you can see the whole hierarchy here, right? So right now we have an epic wherein feature is there, user story is there for that, and it also has the task. Okay. So here you won't see the bug because this is the hierarchy which will be related to parent and child relationship. Okay, so in the same way, right now we are seeing for only one example, but whenever you are working for a production environment, you will have many epics, many features, many user stories, and many tasks being worked with different team members.
So yeah, Jaya, this is the standard skeleton, right? In anywhere.
Yes. Yes, anywhere if you're using Agile, this is the standard skeleton and this is the standard way that they have to follow. And they are following also. Okay.
Okay, yeah, got it.
So that is all for today's class. Tomorrow we will go in detail to see the different operations that you can perform with the work items. And also we will be going and looking at boards as well. Okay.
Okay.
So let me know if you have any doubts from anyone. Or am I going fast, slow, anything that you want to share? Yeah, Monica.
If we create a new work item, I mean, like, will that get created under this, or it will create
Depends
a
on
new?
what you select here. Like this is a separate section that we will be discussing tomorrow because we have not yet seen this view. I came to backlogs to show you how does the hierarchy look like. We have just seen the work items. In work items also, few things are remaining like open inquiries, column options, import, recycle bin, all those things. So once we cover this whole module, we will be going into backlog. There, I can tell you more in detail.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today's homework is to see the different work item link types. Okay, and also create one more hierarchy like this, wherein it will have usually epics will be very less in an organization. Okay, so don't create too many epics. Create one more epic, but for that epic, create at least two features. For two features, create at least two user stories, and for a user story, create at least two tasks and one bug, just to see how does the hierarchy.
So these are all interlinked. Like, if we update any changes to user stories or bugs, it will automatically get reflected at the feature and the epic.
No, whatever update you make at the work item level, say for example you update something in task, that means your task will be updated, that's all. But whenever the management will view from the top end, like in case if your manager wants to see who all are working on active task, like how the team is performing, if they want to see that, then they will look at the epic level, they won't look at the task level, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So one more
Yes,
doubt,
sure.
Jaya. Yeah, regarding emails, yeah, you told that whenever we type that at the rate, so automatically emails will be populate who are under that organization, right? So
Yes.
that, yeah, that will take care by admin or else some other resource, like, or else who are
Yeah,
doing this.
yeah, you missed two class where we discussed about those things. I'll take that classes for you separately. Okay, because we have a separate process where you have the list of users, how you will add at the organization level and then at the project level also.
Yeah, okay, okay, fine,
Okay,
fine, thank
only the users who are part of the organization should be able to be present inside your project and inside your organization, and also inside the project also we can restrict the users.
you. Okay, okay, yeah,
Okay,
thank you. Yeah, yeah, got it.
thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Hope,
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
there
thank
is
you,
no doubt.
Jayashree.
Okay, yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Sonia.
you, Jesh. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
bye.
Bye.